Shalom. Shalom and welcome to the White Rose Family Channel. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah. The message for this segment is fingers away. Yes, fingers away. You see, my brothers and sisters, there are so many distractions in life. We take the simplest of things for granted. Excitement can result in unmanaged actions. Let's unpack this subject. Fingers away, my brothers and sisters, and see if we can be stirred or motivated to be more disciplined. Too often we normalize our actions, which can lead us to taking for granted our responsibilities, my brothers and sisters. We are in a season where what seems good tend to take control of how we manage our earthen vessel. You know, it feels good, it seems good, and sometimes, too often, we get carried away. Let's take a moment and think about the fingers we have and what we do with them. What do we do with our fingers? Take a moment, think about any and everything you do with your fingers, if you have them. And I'm not trying to be facetious, but I don't want to be insensitive to those who do not have hands. For whatever reasons, my brothers and sisters. So in this case, if this does not apply, think about what carries you away, what takes you off, what stirs your actions as a result of feeling good or bringing excitement. I'm compelled to believe that we take our fingers for granted, and as a result, we are carried away with many imaginations. Yes, when we take things for granted, not only are the fingers at work, but our brain, our flesh, our conscience is stirred in some cases. Our imaginations are stirred in some cases. You see, taking one member for granted, one body part, can lead to other body parts being distracted, not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I strongly encourage each of us to begin having discussions regarding this title, Fingers Away. By the time I'm done, I pray that you look at this subject as a serious matter, for urgency will come. Times of laughter, times of folly will not be when intense times ramp up. The need to call all body parts, all members into action, the need to govern ourselves in a more set-apart way becomes ramped up. Visit Hebrews 11:1. It says, "And belief is the substance of what is expected, and the proof of what is not seen." You might say, well, what does this have to do with fingers? What you believe is good may not always be good. What you believe is set apart needs to be confirmed and requires some work. Possibly some work not only of the mind, but of the fingers. You'll see why in a moment. Hebrews 11:6 say, "But without belief, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to the Almighty One," it says Elohim here. I'm reading from the East Sword Scripture version. And when they say Elohim, that's plural for Almighty Ones. There's only one Almighty One. That is Yahuah. But it says, come to the Almighty One has to believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who earnestly seek him. Seek him. What tools, what matters, what mechanisms do we use to seek the Almighty Father? Do our fingers play a part in that as well? Indeed, it does. Or should I say, indeed, they do. I submit to you that demonstrating belief is manifested by what tends to influence us, my brothers and sisters. Usually this is a result of what we see, hear, possibly touch, and or smell. You might say, oh, this is simple. I don't need to hear this. Let me get off of this. That's your choice, my brothers and sisters. Some will discover that in the simplest of things, there may be a nugget of wisdom. There may be a morsel that can contribute to our strength. Most of a baby's activity is demonstrated with their fingers. But we, O Yashar'al, Are not all babes in Yahusha? With each growing day, if we pause, we know what to do, what not to do with our fingers. You agree? Stay with me, Yashar'al. Let me take you to Ephesians 5:17. Ephesians 5:17. eSword Scripture Version says this. So then, do not be foolish, but understand what the desires of Yahuah. Understand the desire of Yahuah. And do not be drunk with wine, in which is loose behavior, but be filled with the Spirit. Do you believe that if we are filled with the Spirit, my brothers and sisters, that we won't be doing things we shouldn't with our fingers? Let's go to Ephesians 5:19. It says, speaking to each other in psalms and songs of praise and spiritual songs, singing, striking the strings in your heart to the Master, giving thanks always for all to the Almighty One, the Father, in the name of our Master, Yahusha Messiah. You see, my brothers and sisters, we must be mindful of all things that we do. Working together, growing in unity. Ephesians 5:21 says, subjecting yourselves to each other in the fear of the Almighty One. Now, my brothers and sisters, I don't want you to think that I'm unaware of the literal. This literal passage in the 5th chapter of Ephesians was talking about a husband, the relationship between a husband and a wife. But it went further. If we pay attention and don't race over it, it went further because it talks about how Yahusha relationship is to the assembly. We have an obligation. Why do we subject ourselves one to another? Because Yahusha dwells in us, not just me, not just you, in us. And so by him dwelling in us, he worketh with our inward man to work towards one another in set apartness. This is how we get iron sharpening iron. Personal desires have taken many of us off track. Sometimes it happens more frequent than we realize. Fingers away. Many seem to like. Fingers away may seem like an unimportant topic. But stay with me, my brothers and sisters, as I present the need to be in better control of our fingers. Especially for such a time as this. Fingers away. You say, I don't need to listen to any more of this. Stay with me, my brothers, and see if you might discover a nugget or two more. Take a look at Proverbs 4:24. It says, turn away from you a crooked mouth and put perverse lips far from you. Do you know that sometimes it's what we do with our fingers, how we carry it away, that can contribute to a crooked mouth, perverse lips? It says, let your eyes look forward and your eyelids look straight before you. Consider the path of your feet, and all your ways are established. It goes on to say, do not turn to the right or to the left. Turn your foot away from evil. Do you think the things we discover with our fingers can cause perverse lips, crooked mouth, or cause us to walk in the direction we shouldn't be? Our fingers are not the brain nor the spirit, but tools used to get things done. You say, I knew that, but think on it. Think on it sincerely as end times wrap up. You see, if we take it for granted, we might not think about those knee-jerk reactions, those quick reactions that are unhealthy. We will recognize the need to take heed to Colossians 4:5, for it says, walk in wisdom towards those who are outside, redeeming the time. Do we, O Yashar'al, desire to gain wisdom? If so, would fingers be involved in obtaining wisdom? I say, sure will. You might say, no, that's crazy. This is a crazy message. Stay with me, my brothers and sisters. Do not take for granted the words that may indeed contribute towards saving a life. I invite each of us to have discussions regarding what we do with our fingers. Do you think we can blame our fingers for taking us off the path of righteousness? Is it the fingers' fault? Or were we influenced by something we discovered as a result of using our fingers? But we cannot blame the fingers. We should not. To do so would be ludicrous. We have been inundated, bombarded with huge amounts of distractions. These distractions cause us to stumble and fall. Endtimes will require minimum stumbling, falling, being focused. Consider the time we spend going down the rabbit hole, so to speak, when using our tech. I think we all are guilty of it. Our curiosity works like a magnet, gluing our fingers away from what is most important. In fellowship and talk, let us look at what we place in that spot of time, how we redeem our time, how we use our time, my brothers and sisters. There are times when we are anointed by the Spirit of Yahuah to do good things with our fingers. Fingers away is designed to get control of what we are doing with the members of our body, literal and spiritual, my brothers and sisters. Taking heed to the details of our actions towards one another. How much time is deflected as a result of seeing something on our phones, tablets, monitors, television, in print? Seeking wisdom. Do we not pick up a book? Sometimes other than the scriptures. Some of us are carried away by the age of a book, the origin of the book, who wrote the book, or just the topic of a book. But do all books contribute towards the wisdom that's needed for such a time as these? There are things we fight against. The discipline of there are times we fight against the discipline of Abba Yahuah, not realizing his discipline helps free us from becoming seduced by uncontrollable finger usage. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we must realize discipline, not our egos, bring about refinement, bring about a better you, a better me, a better us. Take the challenge. Measure how much time has been redeemed on viewing things that take control, that take us off focus. Look at a day. Look at a week. Look at a month. We'll be surprised of how much our fingers yielded to the thoughts of the mind and got off track. Beware, those who ignore the need to be mindful of fingers away will often be filled with excuses. Do not take it lightly when corrections come. Do not let excuses be a license to just go down that rabbit hole, just flow in the seductive distractions from the enemy. Focus, my brothers and sisters. Besides being fascinated by tech, are those who are touchy-feely. You know, you might see someone always want to hug you, always want to touch you, always like to put their hands on things or even on people. Such a one exists. Whether intentional or unaware, some actions resulting from touch can lead to wickedness, my brothers and sisters. Sometimes what we think may be a kind gesture or what we think may be right can be unrighteous. You see, all good intentions are not righteous actions. Consider 2 Samuel. I believe it's the 6th chapter, and you'll see where Uzzah was killed out of good intentions, but they weren't righteous actions. Fingers away. Beware, there are those who use prayer as an excuse to touch you with their hands, their fingers. Do not let what seems like a simple act lead to dropping our guards. Take a look. You see, if a person uses excuses to touch you, to reach out with their fingers, they're getting close. And if they're getting close, are they sniffing you? Are they smelling your perfume, your cologne, your natural body odor? And does that lead to something else? Do not be quick to let someone put their hands on you just because they say, I want to pray for you. Beware, my brothers and sisters. There are those who use prayer as an excuse to touch you with their fingers. We might think it's innocent, but it's not. Let us examine 1 Timothy 4:14. 1 Timothy 4:14 reads this: Do not neglect the gift that is in you, which was given to you by prophecy with the laying on of hands of the elderhood. You know, my brothers and sisters, there's a scripture that says too much is given, much is required, much is asked. We have responsibilities. If we have the gift of laying on of hands, it doesn't mean we go wow and abuse the gift. It doesn't mean that we demonstrate grabbing and touching on someone because we say, I got the gift of laying on of hands. Beware, my brothers and sisters. Don't be worried about offending a person. Be concerned about being obedient to what the scripture says. There are those quick to show you scriptures to justify placing their hands or fingers on people. Stay with me. For we are not instructed to always put our hands on people. Come with me, my brothers and sisters. Come with me to 2 Timothy 1:5-7. It reads this: For I recollect the sincere belief which is in you, which dwelt first in your grandmother Lois and your mother Eunice, and I am persuaded is in you too. For this reason I remind you to stir up the gift of the Almighty One which is in you through the laying on of my hands. For the Almighty One has not given us a spirit of cowardice, but of power and of love and of self-control. You notice it said of self-control, discipline. He's not saying run, and the writer here is not saying run and put your hands on everyone. Be so excited that you have the spirit of laying on of hands, or the belief. If we look at what I just printed, it encouraged the laying on of hands. You agree? Without prayer and much study, we may make grave mistakes, though. Come, allow me to present this. The reason why I say this, because different ones will show you the scriptures and say, well, that's what the word says. That's what the word says. Not knowing all of what the word says. Not studied, unlearned, undiscerning. And they telling you the word tell you to lay your hands on people. But let me read 1 Timothy 5:21. It says, I earnestly witness before the Almighty One, Master Yahusha Messiah, and the chosen messengers, that you watch over these matters without prejudice, doing none at all with partiality. Now listen carefully as I read 1 Timothy 5:22. Do not lay hands on anyone hastily, nor share in sins of others. Keep yourself clean. My brothers and sisters, it says hastily, nor share in the sins of others. There are people tell you, two or more, let us lay our hands on this brother or sister. Let's deliver them. Thinking we got the power. What we have is the spirit of Yahusha within us, working within us. So let us not think that we can control and should control the laying on hands recklessly. Let us be mindful of the spirit of Yahuah, working in us, through us, one towards another. I strongly suggest that we embrace the need to pray without ceasing, as it is written, my brothers and sisters. Come with me to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 16-21. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, 16-21. It says here, rejoice always, pray without ceasing. In all circumstances, give thanks, for this is the desire of the Almighty One and Messiah, Yahusha, for you. Praying without ceasing helps us to be on point when it comes to using our fingers, our hands, touching someone, praying for someone by physical touch. Do not quench the spirit. Do not despise prophecies. Prove them all. Hold fast to what is good. Pray without ceasing, my brothers and sisters. It's speaking and seeking to discern and listen to what the voice of the Almighty Father has to say regarding all matters. Pray without ceasing can lead to depending on the Spirit of Yahuah, which comes in the name of his word, Yahusha. It is a safeguard to becoming victims of fingers away by praying without ceasing. We can minimize being carried away. If ever there was a time to earnestly improve our walk, it's now. We must take all matters under consideration, my brothers and sisters, and begin to be disciplined and watchful of what we do with our fingers. Otherwise, we will find ourselves facing results of being distracted with fingers away, falling down that rabbit hole. Be careful, be cautious, be prayerful, my brothers and sisters. This message might seem like it's unimportant, but many people have been caught in the snare by who they touch, what they put in their fingers, where they put in their fingers. Rise up, Yashar'al. Be set apart. Grow in wisdom and discipline. Each of us faces fingers away at some point in time. The key is to embrace the need to be more focused and disciplined. Least we are contributors towards disruptions and wickedness. My brothers and sisters, that's all I have on this message. But have a discussion about fingers away and discipline and focus, and how uncontrollable fingers can lead us to pursue things that will cause us to waste time that we must realize is valuable, especially for such a time as this. If you listen from beginning to end, I thank you for your patience, your pursuit of set apartness. I pray that you're growing strong in the power and might of the Almighty Father Yahuah through Yahusha HaMashiach. My name is Symmanayah, and these are the words I'm compelled to present to an awakening set-apart body. On that note, to you, my brother, my sister, my family, much shalom.